Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mashita Mustafa and my metric number is 077238. So today I'm gonna talk about chapter 3, finding and discussion. Today I'll be presenting chapter 3, which focuses on the findings and discussion of the study on Malaysia's progress in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals or SDG. This chapter is based on semi-structured interview conducted with two expert respondents. The first respondent is Professor Dr. Suyatno Ladiki and the second one is the Dr. Feroz Ali. Both are international relations lecturers at University Sultan Zainal Abidin who have strong academic and policy-related expertise in governance and sustainable development. Their insights are analyzed together with key national policy documents such as the 12th Malaysia Plan, the National SDG Roadmap, the Malaysia Voluntary National Review, and supporting academic literature and policy reports. The findings are organized into 6 main themes, and I will now explain each one of them in details. So the first one is the overall SDG progress in Malaysia. To begin with, both respondents describe Malaysia's overall progress in achieving the SDGs as moderated, but uneven across different dimensions. They generally agree that Malaysia has made noticeable progress in the economic and social pillars of sustainable development. In the economic dimension, Malaysia has achieved relatively stable growth supported by industrial development, infrastructure expansion, and foreign investment. These developments have contributed to improvement in employment opportunities and national income levels. In the social dimension, most respondents highlighted positive achievement in poverty reduction, access to healthcare, education enrollment, and improvement in basic public service. These areas are strongly supported by long-term national development planning and consistent government policy intervention. However, despite these achievements, both respondents strongly emphasize that Malaysia's progress is not balanced across the 3 pillars of sustainability. The environmental dimension remains the most concerning areas. Issues such as deforestation, biodiversity loss, carbon emission, waste management problems, and dependence on fossil fuels continue to persist. This creates a key contradiction. Malaysia is improving in development outcomes, but not yet achieving full sustainability because environmental protection is not progressing at the same pace as economic and social development. This indicates that Malaysia's development model is still largely growth-oriented rather than sustainability balance. Next, the effectiveness of national policies and frameworks. The second theme examines Malaysia's national SDG frameworks, particularly the 12th Malaysia Plan and the National SDG Roadmap. Both respondents acknowledge that Malaysia has made strong institutional efforts to integrate SDG into national development planning. These frameworks are important because they provide clear policy direction, structure, and alignment between ministries and national priorities. They show that Malaysia is not only adopting the SDG as international commitment, but also embedding them into domestic planning system. In this sense, Malaysia demonstrates strong policy commitment and strategic alignment at the national level. However, both respondents also highlight a critical issue, which is the implementation gaps. While policies are well designed, their success depends heavily on execution at different levels of government, federal, state, and local. Professor Suyatno Ladiki emphasized that outcomes depends on how effectively policies are carried out in practice, while Dr. Feroz stressed that differences in institutional capacity, coordination issue, funding limitation, and inconsistent monitoring system weaken implementation. This suggests that Malaysia's challenge is not about lacking policies, but rather about translating policies into consistent and measurable outcomes. In other words, there is a gap between policy formulation and policy delivery. Next, priority SDGs and development trade-off. The third theme focuses on which SDGs Malaysia has prioritized more successfully. Most respondents identify four main SDGs where Malaysia has shown strong performance. SDG first, no poverty. SDG third, good health and well-being. SDG fourth, quality education. And SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. These SDGs are strongly aligned with Malaysia's long-term national development agendas, which explains why they show better progress compared to other goals. They are also supported by continuous government investment, institutional focus, and long-term policy continuity. However, both respondents also highlight that Malaysia's progress involves clear trade-off, particularly between economic growth and environmental sustainability. Economic development in Malaysia is closely linked to sectors such as manufacturing, agriculture, infrastructure development, and natural resources extraction. While these sectors contribute significantly to national income and employment, they also create environmental pressures such as land degradation, deforestation, pollution, and increased carbon emissions. Dr. Ferris also highlighted governance complexities where state-level decisions on land use and development sometimes conflict with federal environmental objectives. This demonstrates that SDGs implementation is not only about achieving targets but also about managing competing priorities between economic development and environmental protection. We're going to talk about the governance and structural challenge. The fourth theme focuses on governance-related challenges in SDG implementation. Both respondents strongly agree that government complexities is one of the main barriers to achieve the SDG effectively. Malaysia's SDG implementation involves multiple actors, including federal ministries, state governments, local authorities, private sector actors, and civil society organizations. This multi-actor system often leads to fragmentation, overlapping responsibility, and coordination difficulties. A major structural issue is Malaysia's federal governance, where important environmental and development-related areas such as land, forestry, and water management fall under state jurisdiction. This creates inconsistencies in implementation across different states, especially when national policies require state-level cooperation. Dr. Ferris also provided a strong illustration using wildlife conservation, particularly the Malayan tiger. Even if federal laws exist to protect endangered species, actual outcomes depend on state decisions regarding logging, land conversions, and infrastructure development. This shows that environmental governance is highly dependent on intergovernmental coordination and enforcement capacity. Therefore, governance fragmentation remains a key structural challenge affecting SDG progress, especially in environmental sustainability. So the fifth theme addresses monitoring and data systems, which respondents emphasize that effective SDG implementation requires reliable, timely, and disaggregated data. However, in Malaysia, several data-related challenges exist: limited data sharing between agencies, weak integration of database across sectors, lack of local level and community level data, inconsistent reporting mechanism, limited monitoring capacity at local authority. This weakness make it difficult to accurately measure progress or identify underperforming regions. Dr. Suyatno highlighted the need to improve SDG indicator and monitoring system, while the first stressed the importance of better local level data collection. Without strong data systems, policy making becomes less evidence-based and more reactive, which reduces policy effectiveness. Therefore, strengthening data governance is essential for improving SDG tracking and implementation. The final theme focuses on environmental SDGs, particularly SDG 13 climate action and SDG 15 life on land. Both respondents agree that environmental sustainability is the most lagging dimension of Malaysia's SDG performance. The main reasons include dependence on fossil fuels as an energy sources, rapid industrialization and urban expansions, land use changes driven by development projects, economic priorities often taking precedence over environmental protection. Environmental issues are also complex. because they require long-term structural transformation, including changes in production system, energy transition, consumption patterns, and regulatory enforcement. Dr. Ferris further explained that environmental SDGs are difficult globally because countries must balance economic competitiveness with climate commitment. This means that Malaysia challenges are part of a broader global structural issues, not only a national governance problem. To conclude, this chapter shows that Malaysia has made meaningful but uneven progress in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. On the positive side, Malaysia has performed relatively well in socio-economic areas such as poverty reduction, education, healthcare, and economic development. However, environmental sustainability continues to lag significantly behind, creating an imbalance in Malaysia's overall SDG performance. The study also identifies key structural challenges, including implementation gaps, governance fragmentation, weak coordination, data limitation, and environmental pressure. Overall, the findings suggest that Malaysia has strong policy frameworks and clear commitment to the SDGs. Achieving the 2030 agenda will require stronger implementation capacity, improve coordination between federal and state level, better data monitoring system, and more balanced integration of environmental sustainability into national development strategies. That's all from me. Thank you for your time and your cooperation. Bye bye.